You can hear her cries in the distance. With every step you take, the dawn gets further away, and the sickly green night grows ever stronger. The crunching of your feet on the snow is drowned out by her wailing as she draws even closer, a putrid fog swirling at her heels. Only by putting together the knowledge of those who failed can you have any hope of putting this spirit to bed. So the challenge is, can you escape the Darkwalker? Hey everyone, and welcome back. My name is Stars, and today we'll be discussing how you can escape the Darkwalker. This challenge has a lot of information to get a handle on when you're preparing to tackle it, so buckle up. We're going to cover this in sections: the challenge, the nature of the Darkwalker, the route, world settings, glyphs, and the strategy. So first, let's learn about the challenge. The Darkwalker is hunting you and will not stop until you have either died or banished her. You must collect 10 pages located at mysterious green fires, one from each of the lower Great Bear regions, apart from Black Rock and Ash Canyon. After collecting all the pages, you must lure the Darkwalker to a ritual circle in Ash Canyon and banish it. The nature of the Darkwalker. The Darkwalker will not appear until 15 real-time minutes have passed since the beginning of your run. However, each hour of sped up time in-game will cause 30 seconds to pass on this grace period. When she arrives, she will initially be approximately 500 to 550 meters from your survivor. She will move far slower than your survivor, even while walking, but will increase in speed with every note you collect. You only have a couple clues to her true distance from your survivor. The closer she gets, the louder her wailing will become, and ominous music will increase in volume. As she is nearing 200 meters from you, you can begin to hear a low thumping. What you are hearing is her footsteps. Once she is within 200 meters, your survivor will become afflicted with anxiety, and the Darkwalker's distance will be displayed at the top of your screen. Once within 50 meters, your anxiety will turn into fear, which will cause your survivor to lose condition at a rate of approximately 50% per real-life minute. The Darkwalker cannot be seen or harmed. She passes through all obstacles and pays no regard to verticality, making rope climbs very risky. While you spend 30 seconds to climb a rope, the Darkwalker takes none. When entering new regions or areas, the Darkwalker will spawn in at a distance equal to the distance she was from you in the region you just left, but she might be oriented differently. The Darkwalker does not rest or sleep. Every second your survivor takes to rest, repair, eat, you name it, if you aren't moving, she's getting closer. The final thing to know about the Darkwalker is the toxic fog that she summons to smoke you out. Each region has a certain amount of time before the region fills with toxic fog. The larger the region, the longer the timer. You can see the progress of the toxic fog at the top of your map. Once toxic fog fills the region, all food will spoil, all wildlife will die, and you will take constant condition loss, so you must never stick around in one place for too long. The route. We want to minimize backtracking, as it will drastically increase the chance that you'll be walking straight towards the Darkwalker. Looking at our map of Lower Great Bear, we can see that there are 3 dead-end regions with only a single entrance and exit apart from Ash Canyon. These regions are Hushed River Valley, Broken Railroad, and Desolation Point. The route I recommend here is to start in Hushed River Valley, move out to Mountain Town, and into Forlorn Muskeg. However, do not collect the page in Forlorn Muskeg. From the transition from Mountain Town, cut directly into Broken Railroad. After that, move back into Forlorn Muskeg and move through Mystery Lake into Ravine, collecting pages as you go. From the ravine, go into Bleak Inlet, then back out through the ravine into Coastal Highway and into Desolation Point. From there, double back and cross through Coastal Highway into Pleasant Valley, where we will make a final stretch into Timberwolf Mountain and finally into Ash Canyon to banish the Darkwalker. World settings. In this challenge, the difficulty is set to Voyager, and you won't be able to select any feats. All wildlife spawns, but the amount of them is heavily reduced, and you are given a 24-hour grace period before any predators spawn. The time of day is permanently dusk, which will make the world colder, but blizzards and auroras are disabled, so you won't need to worry about that. You will start with a bedroll and some randomized clothing and supplies. When you spawn, you will be next to a burnout fire with a note titled On the Nature of Darkwalkers. This is not one of the 10 pages you have to collect, and there will still be a green fire to locate inside of your spawn region. The maps of each region are fully revealed in this challenge, and the location of your survivor and the green fire are marked on the map, making locating the fires a non-issue. Each green fire will have a piece of valuable loot and some other resources. These fires go out 4 hours after you first arrive at them, unless the Darkwalker hasn't spawned, in which case it will go out 4 hours after the Darkwalker has arrived, and nothing can put these fires out until that timer has expired. Glyphs. The only thing you have at your disposal to fight the Darkwalker is glyph spray paint cans. These allow you to spray glyphs which alter the behavior of the Darkwalker, and each paint can allows you to spray 4 glyphs. One can be found at your spawn location, each green fire, and some other locations across Great Bear. But do not worry seeking them out because you should have plenty just from the ones along your way. You have access to 4 types of glyphs: Lure, Ward, Dispel Fog, and Banish. The Lure glyph draws the Darkwalker to it. Only one can be placed at a time, and they lose effect if you move into a different region. They last for slightly over 1 in-game hour, but will wear off immediately if the Darkwalker reaches them. This will be very apparent from the loud audio cue that your survivor will hear once the Darkwalker reaches your lure. The Ward glyph prevents the Darkwalker from moving within 200 meters of its location, but you must stand near it for it to have effect. You'll know if you're too far away from the ward if the meter on the screen fades to a gray color instead of white. Like the lure, only one can be active at a time per region, and will lose effect if you move into a new region. When you first start a run of Escape the Darkwalker, the loading screen will tell you that a ward lasts for 15 minutes. But as of the time of this video, that's not true. Each hour of in-game time in the long dark is approximately 5 real-life minutes, and a ward lasts for slightly over 5 sped-up hours in-game, which would be about 25 minutes, not 15. Just to double check this number, I timed the length of a ward without speeding up time at all, and it still took approximately 25 minutes to fully dissipate. So each ward will last for 25 real-time minutes or 5 in-game hours. The only exception to this is fire wards. When first arriving at green fires, they will activate a ward that lasts for 4 hours instead of 5. Dispel Fog reduces the buildup of toxic fog in a region by 50%, but can only be used once during your entire run, so it must be used very carefully. Finally, the Banish glyph. It's only available once you've collected all 10 pages, and it must be sprayed in the Banishing Circle in Ash Canyon to finally defeat the Darkwalker. The strategy. Our strategy consists of 3 main things: our energy management, our glyphs, and our pathing efficiency. Energy management will make or break your run. Throughout this challenge, you want to sleep as little as possible, as each hour you sleep, the Darkwalker gets closer. You'll be receiving a lot of coffee and energy drinks, but use them wisely. Never climb a rope unless you have a coffee or energy drink in you to help reduce your fatigue. Only climb if you are no more than 25% fatigued and you have full stamina. The reason for this is you climb slower the more fatigued you are, and the lower your stamina bar is, and the slower you climb, the more fatigued you will become. Whenever you arrive at a green fire, sleep for the duration of the ward it provides or until you are about 75% rested. Then keep moving. You'll only be sleeping to a full rest 3 times during your run. Once in Broken Railroad, Bleak Inlet, and Desolation Point. If you're going to sprint, make sure you have the coffee in you to lessen the fatigue. If you are becoming extremely fatigued and you're worried about making it to the next fire, drink an energy drink, but save as many energy drinks as you can for the later stages of the run. Now our glyph usage. When the Darkwalker first arrives, place a lure down immediately, and from here on out you will place a lure down immediately every single time you enter a new region or area. The reason for this being, since the Darkwalker always makes a beeline straight for you, or a lure if one is active, you want to delay her progress as much as possible. By placing a lure down at the entrance to the region or area, you will almost certainly delay her by a bit. In the worst case scenario, she is oriented in such a way that she will move directly towards the lure and you, so you'll have gained no space but also lost no space. In the best case scenario, she is oriented in such a way where she's either heading away from you or in a direction where she isn't making any progress towards you, and that will greatly increase your distance for the duration of the lure. So there is no reason not to do it. Additionally, if your lure has been worn off or destroyed while you're resting at a green fire, place one at the fire before moving on. Your ward glyphs will be used to keep you safe while you're sleeping to a full rest. When resting to full, sleep through 3 hours of the green fire's ward, and then place a ward glyph down. This is so there's no time gap between when the green fire goes out and you place another ward. Once the green fire runs out of time, the glyph will take effect immediately. Rest again through it. Once you're ready to move on, place a lure down next to your ward, and then erase your ward glyph, and get moving. Finally, your Dispel Fog glyph. This is going to be saved for any emergency scenarios where you spend more time in a region than is intended. With this route, if you make no mistakes at all, you should never need to Dispel Fog at all. Last thing you must know is pathing efficiency. Take the most direct possible route to your next destination as possible. When passing through Forlorn Muskeg to Broken Railroad, do not go down to the tracks and follow it to Broken Railroad. Instead, use your map to cut diagonally across and reach it faster. Additionally, you should not be stopping to loot anything that is not on your most efficient route. Never enter indoor locations at all. Through both of my runs on this challenge, I have never once entered an indoor location apart from a mine or any other transition route. You will find all the loot you need along the way, and there are plenty of cattails if you're running short on food. The most important thing for pathing efficiency is to never be encumbered, unless you are encumbered because your fatigue is too high. If you're ever carrying so much that it exceeds your max carry weight, you are carrying too much. That was a lot, But you now know everything you need to know, so let's talk our way through a run real quick. From here on out, I'll be covering a lot more specific stuff of the challenge, including where some loot is located and other specifics. I won't be covering much new stuff, and you should be fine to attempt the challenge now without watching any further. But if you want to have any additional guidance, watch here and it may provide some clarification. And if you want to see a run in more detail, I completed one on stream, and you can watch it in the time card on the top right of the screen. Following our route, we spawn into Hush River Valley. Find the fire in Hush River Valley ASAP and loot its contents. This fire will give us a revolver, which will be all we need to defend ourselves from wildlife. First off, we want to get a head start on the Darkwalker. You'll be making good pace if you're able to arrive in Mountain Town before she arrives. When she arrives, place a lure and keep going to the next fire, resting for a couple hours if need be, then moving into Forlorn Muskeg. Cut across into Broken Railroad and get the fire there. Rest completely up so you have no fatigue, using wards if needed. When ready to move on, we will place a lure down, erase our ward, and hurry back to Forlorn Muskeg, where we go straight to the fire, grab the page, rest if needed, and then head into Mystery Lake. I recommend looting the train cars on the way from the Forlorn Muskeg fire into Mystery Lake, as it will have a good amount of loot. Now, Mystery Lake will have a rifle at its fire. Do not bring it with you. It is not necessary, and it's far too heavy. You should be dropping all rifle-related items when you get them, including ammunition, so that you can have more carry weight. You also should drop any clothing that you can't wear. When you get new clothes, see if it's better than something you have on. If it is, swap it and drop the old clothes. You should not spend time repairing clothing. The ravine will be one of two very risky areas where you are most likely to come into close contact with the Darkwalker. It has a very quick fog timer, so you can't waste any time. Find the rope that is either in the cave or in the train cars, and deploy it for the climb down into Bleak Inlet. At this point, it will have been a very long time since you were able to fully rest, so you may need to use an energy drink to help you with the climb. Once you are in Bleak Inlet, you have 24 hours before Timberwolves spawn, which is more than enough. Make your way to the fire lookout tower, grab the rope at the top, and deploy it to climb down to the lower section of the region. Make it to the fire where you will receive a moose hide satchel. Equip it, as it will help you avoid being encumbered. Rest to full once again, lure the fire, erase your ward, and leave back the way you came into the ravine. You'll be doing 2 long rope climbs here, one to get to the upper section of Bleak Inlet and one to get back up to the top of the ravine. You need to make sure you have coffee and energy drinks to help mitigate the effect these climbs are going to have on you. Once you are at the top of the ravine climb, move straight into Coastal Highway. Make sure you are not forgetting to place a lure every single time you enter a new region, as if you don't, it is incredibly likely that the Darkwalker may get close to you while you're doing the rope climb. Once you are in Coastal Highway, you're going to do something a little different. Go to the fire, but don't collect the page. The journey into Desolation Point is the second place that you are most likely to come into close contact with the Darkwalker. You'll want to wait to collect the page from Coastal Highway until after you've come back to keep her at a slower pace while you're in that riskier area. While at the fire in Coastal Highway, you will receive a tin of coffee. Make all of the coffee and then rest for the remainder of the green fire's time. Then head to Desolation Point. You will need to travel through a mine to get to and from Desolation Point. The mines are the riskiest areas because of how much they confine your survivor's movement. Make sure not to forget your lures when you're in mines. When you reach the Desolation Point fire, you will do your final full rest. Prepare as many coffees and energy drinks as you can. You will need all of them. When you are ready, place a lure, erase your ward, and begin the final stretch. Go back to Coastal Highway. If you encounter the Darkwalker in the mine, then keep calm and keep moving. It will go to your lure. Just make sure that it isn't heading straight towards you in its path to that lure. Once back in Coastal Highway, do not forget to return to the fire and grab the page. Once you have it, go for Pleasant Valley, where you will need to pass through another mine. Once in Pleasant Valley, find the fire, rest if needed, and go straight to Timberwolf Mountain. If you're running low on energy drinks or coffee, check the Mountaineer's Hut on the way to the Timberwolf Mountain fire, as it may have both of those. Once you are at this fire, you shouldn't need to rest too much as long as you have an energy drink or two. And the beauty here is that you should have obtained a couple emergency stims during your journey. We haven't used these up till now because they completely crash your survivor to being fully fatigued after they wear off, which is not worth it. However, they can be used in this final stretch as you won't be needed to rest anymore once you've reached the Banishing Circle. Take the transition into the lower area of Ash Canyon. You'll need to follow the river upstream to the Banishing Circle. Once you've made it a decent ways up the river in Ash Canyon, if you have 2 to 3 emergency stims, you can string them all together to achieve an endless sprint to the finish. You may have all the pages and the Darkwalker is faster than ever, but you're all hopped up on drugs and not even an evil spirit can stop you now. Once you get to the Banishment Circle, spray the Banish Glyph and wait for her to arrive. One final thing to note here is that you will momentarily be afflicted with fear while a Darkwalker approaches the Banishing Circle. So make sure you are not at extremely low condition before spraying the Banishment Glyph, because if you are, you might actually die from fear before the Darkwalker reaches the circle. If your condition is fine, stand in the center of the circle and she will walk to her doom and you'll have officially escaped the Darkwalker. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for all the people who were at my live stream completing the challenge. I just did not expect such an amazing turnout, and you guys were so amazing and funny that entire time. I love putting this video together, and I can't wait to do some more challenge videos. I know this one is a lot of very specific information to take in, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.